How's it going? I'm Ryan. And today I'm going to go over the two trades that I took, one on SPY, one on QQQ. Both losers. Not a great day for me. Got faked out on my first trade. Second trade just wasn't that great. We'll jump into those in just a second. We're on the daily time frame here. You can say we had this big move up. Looked like we formed a reversal candle. And a huge gap down overnight. We had CPI release pre-market, came in hotter than expected. The market's wanting rate cuts or pricing in rate cuts. Hot CPI or hot inflation generally points to maybe not having the Fed in a rush to cut rates. So got a big sell-off pre-market. Bit of a odd day as we finish with a giant pin bar essentially. We can jump straight into it. Few of the zones we were watching here. Looking around like 496, 494, kind of where we were in the morning. Right off the open, we came down, didn't quite get to the pre-market low, but got around that 494 level. Pushed up a little over $1 before pulling back into this zone again. What I'm watching for in these zones is buying pressure or selling pressure. So I'm looking for moves, from one zone to the next, from supply to demand, or from demand to supply, whichever way we're trending. So after seeing the open, where we came down here and got a pretty nice move up, we came down and had this 5-minute candle here. We had high volume. We tested, pushed a little bit below pre-market low, pushed into this demand zone, formed a hammer on the 5-minute on pretty high volume. Likewise, we also had the 2-minute here where we got a similar thing, pushed down, tested that pre-market low, had a pretty high volume candle. As you can see, volume is increasing as we come down into this level and hold it with a hammer, closing above 494. This point, I was looking for calls and continuation. I was targeting ideally high a day, and then if I was to hold runners up into this zone around 495.6 or so. So when we printed this candle on the 2-minute, and as I showed you on the 5-minute, that hammer with increased volume, when we came back down and retested this level, I grabbed some calls when we tested that pre-market low here. Around 493.8 is where I entered. I got stopped out on this candle here once we broke below low a day and formed a new low. So my exit, my stop loss was low a day. We looked like we were trying to hold that pre-market low for a while and then kind of gradually just made our way down. We eventually did reverse and made our way back up to high a day. So potentially entered this trade a little early, but this one was really tricky, and it's a trade that I would take 10 out of 10 times, especially with the 2-minute, the 5-minute all lining up, volume lining up, price action looking good. Yeah, I figured we were a little bit oversold on the day. I figured that we would make, a lower high and then continue our trend down, which we did. But yeah, just entered a bit early, and you can see that we did end up holding that zone really well in the 5-minute in terms of never closing below this zone on the 5-minute. We were below the 9 EMA here. I'm not going to overlay it, but we were below the 9 EMA until about this point here. I think we broke out above it on this candle here. So yeah, that was a tricky one. It looked like buyers were present. Looked like a classic setup that I would want. Got stopped out, kind of chopped around down here before making the reversal. So after seeing this candle, potentially could have been another opportunity to re-enter, especially when we opened right at that pre-market low again here and kind of reclaim that level. That could have been an option for re-entry, but I did not take it. But it would have been nice, we got a nice push up into this zone as came up, tested that previous high, got a little bit of a pullback, and then made our way up to new high and to that next zone up here. before reversing. So, you know, what can you do? It looked like a really good setup. I thought it was going to work out. I'm not mad that I took it. Um, that was the first trade of the day, and that was a loser. Got stopped out, didn't re-enter, so maybe that's something that I could consider as well, is looking at a re-entry. Also consider, you know, that we still had this trend line here. I guess at the time of entering this trade, that trend line wasn't as clear. So hindsight 2020, that was a difficult one. That one stopped me out. I thought for sure that we'd get a nice move up from there. So sized in on this one, took multiple contracts, and took a loss. I wish I was paying attention to this at the time. I guess I was off. Yeah, I was already off for the day when this happened up here, so that's a bit of a bummer, but that was a zone that I was watching, obviously. We did get a nice rejection out of there. Overall, kind of moved zone to zone, you know, found support down here, resistance up here, pulled back, broke, found some temporary support at the next zone. So SPY worked all right. Just got tricked, I guess. That was just, they don't always work out. And that was unfortunate. I guess has me thinking maybe of trading either in the money contracts or contracts with a further expiration, just to allow myself, you know, maybe to hold through some of this in the event that it does work. But nonetheless, you know, setting my stop below low a day, I'm happy with how I traded that. It's just unfortunate the way that it worked out. We'll take a look at QQQ. Similar thing on QQQ. So opened up the morning, held that pre-market low, and kind of rallied from there. We were forming, I mean, we were looking really bullish. We have increasing volume. We're making higher highs. At this point, I was watching for a pullback and continuation was what I was hoping to see. We looked like we were starting to form a flag here after creating this high day. Pulled back, held this zone here around 429.6 or so. Broke out of that flag, and I entered calls, 2 calls on this candle here. Once we broke out of this flag on the 5-minute and the 2-minute. We'll take a look at this 2-minute as well. Kind of see what I was looking at here. So new high of day, pulled back, held this level, broke out of the that flag, and entered calls at this point once we broke out. We didn't really make any move. I was up, you know, a very small percentage here. Then we kind of pulled back. This candle right here stopped me out. So once we broke out of this zone right here, that stopped me out. So this is my second loss of the day. Similar situation. I took 2 contracts here, so sized up a bit. Felt pretty decent about it. I think, if anything, the volume really kind of slipped off, and we can take a look at the 5-minute and kind of examine that. But you can see that volume from this point is really low in here, like really low compared to pretty much everything else. I guess some of this was a little bit low volume, but we had this big surge in volume here as we pushed up, pretty equal volume as we pulled back, and then volume just decreased, and I think that follow through just never happened. So I was, I guess, trading a bit of a breakout. That's not really my strategy. But thought with the strength that we had, forming higher highs, higher lows, that we might get, you know, a continuation up to this next zone. 432 was my target, which, you know, had it worked would have been over a $1.50 or so move. However, it didn't work out, and I got stopped out of this as well. I took 432 contracts, so we're out of the money. Once I got stopped out, that was a bigger loss than I would have liked. I tried to hold on and you know, be patient and respect this zone, give it some time to play out. It just didn't happen. So this trade, I think, the idea was there, the execution wasn't. I got a bad entry because I entered on the breakout. That's not really my thing. I would much rather wait for the retest because you get a better fill, you have less risk. But with that being said, did not get the entry on the retest, got the entry on the breakout, and got stopped out as well. So that ended my day. Just 2 trades, both of them losing trades, both of them calls. And first one was close, just kind of tricky. This one was not the greatest execution. I could have waited a little bit for a better entry or pullback. And then, you know, would have had a little bit better risk management there as well. So just tricky, just tough. I'm going to continue to just try to adjust. I think I'm liking these zones a little bit. I think I might just continue to try to tweak and adjust things. Yeah, it's just been rough lately. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but just got to keep at it. That's all I got for you. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. I do trade live every Monday through Friday, so I'll be here the rest of the week. Stop by if you do feel so inclined. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. All right, peace.